you like wrenching in your garage, have you ever considered building a kit car? Yeah, a kit car. A car that's available as a set of parts from a manufacturer, and you get to put it together. You know, kind of like slapping together a Lego set of your favorite sports car ever, just not in 1/18 scale. So here are 4 cheap kit cars and an honorable mention that not only look like supercars, but we'll eat them for lunch. Let's do this. Let's go. You know, it's great to see all you guys again. And for those of you that I've never met, welcome to Ideal Media. Now, if you're a regular, you know that one car, well, there is one car that's always the answer. What is it? Yeah, it's a Miata, the fun, sporty little 2-door roadster from Mazda. But we all know that these things aren't supercar slayers. In fact, they're pretty much the opposite. Now, one of the biggest downfalls with performance is weight. So what if you were to throw a Miata on a Jenny Craig diet? Could you imagine yourself running around in this? Yes, this is a Mazda Miata with about 1,000 pounds shedded from its already lightweight chassis. And they call this thing the MEV Exocet. It has the same wheelbase, it has all the same ergonomics as your favorite roadster. And since this kit was built specifically to be used with a stock Miata, all of your donor car parts will fit perfectly. So yeah, the guts of this thing are definitely Mazda Miata, with all those great handling characteristics and that JDM reliability that we've all fallen in love with. Just with a ton more speed and grip, baby. I could totally imagine rolling around in one of these things with every single person wondering, what the hell am I driving? And it somewhat kind of sort of looks like this pricey aerial atom that has completely disrupted the open cabin motoring market. Yet you can build one of these for just pennies on the dollar, which makes me holla. Yeah, for around 9 grand all in, you can build this ideal lightweight Miata racer car. I guess in no matter what size, shape, or form, Miata is always the answer. I gotta ask you a question, and no, it is not the ideal question of the day. Have you ever been a fan of this car, the Chevy Cobalt? Yeah, me neither, but hear me out, because there's somewhat of a gem lurking under the hood. Specifically, this little 2.2 liter Ecotech pumping out 145 horses and 155 foot-pounds of torque. Yeah, you take that drivetrain and some other components from the Chevy Cobalt donor car and made it with this computer-designed space frame chassis. And you pretty much have a 1,500-pound street-legal go-kart at your disposal. Imagine if you had that when you had your paper route. That would have made you some fast money. And you can pretty much afford this thing with a paper route salary. Including the donor car, these things cost about $12,000 all in. Now, that pricing is for just the naturally aspirated 2.2 liter, but you can turn this thing into a supercar killer. Specifically, if you take the turbocharged 2 liter pushing out 260 horses in this Cobalt SS. And yeah, you're going from 0 to 60 in the high 2s. Just watch this thing go. Please, now promise me this. If you ever do build one, nickname it Gob, because this thing looks like it's gobs of fun. Is that a bad joke? Okay, now before we get into this wild Subaru recreation, it's time for that ideal question of the day, which is, where is the weirdest place that you've ever fallen asleep? Was it standing up? Or maybe in your neighbor's backyard? Let us know down in the comments your best falling asleep in some weird place story. I'm gonna go through the comments and send my favorite, one of these ideal tees. And if you don't think you're gonna win, support the channel and just go snag one right now, because they're ideal. All right, I got a question for you. Now close your eyes and trust me. Are you a fan of this sound? Yeah, the iconic boxer engine that Subaru's been perfecting for decades. Yeah, well, me too. And you guessed it, it is the heartbeat of this, the Factory 5818, the kit car that unboxes the boxer motor and all the other goodies that we love from the Subaru WRX. Now, you may have heard of Factory 5 before, because they're guilty of building this fire-breathing monster, the Shelby Cobra, a replica of the fire-breathing $1 million plus race car. And complete side note, but if you haven't seen the movie Ford vs. Ferrari yet, please stop watching this video after subscribing, of course, and race to your local movie theater to check it out. It's probably one of the best car, well, you know what? It is the best car movie that I've ever seen. And Shelby Cobras are absolutely everywhere in it. As far as the 818, it's a mid-engine, manual transmission, rear-wheel drive that's wide, low, and ready to deliver a performance of a lifetime. And here's the kicker. You get a bona fide grinning son of a race car that can be completed for around 15,000 bucks. It's an absolutely great design because it's cheap and simple, and with a low center of gravity, it'll handle all your craziest turn-in desires. The only thing is that this kit is rear-wheel drive, not all-wheel drive like the Donor WRX that you're gonna use, which in my eyes gets rid of all the nannies and makes this thing even more exciting. And now it's time for that honorable mention, baby. Have you ever wanted to make supercar owners jealous? Well, now you can with this car, the RCR SLC, a fiberglass, all aluminum, semi-monocoque chassis supercar killer that is like nothing else you've ever seen before in your life. And the answer is yes. Yes, you can build this thing in your backyard if you really wanted to. Because after all, it's a kit car, and it was designed to be a full-fledged race car, setting numerous track records over the years. So you're probably wondering why this is the honorable mention. And well, because it's not really that cheap. All in, with a Corvette drivetrain installed, you're looking at roughly 65,000 stacks. Wait, I said that wrong. 65 stacks, which equates to $65,000, at least I think so. But regardless, it ain't cheap, but it is a fantastic value. When you consider that for $65,000, you get a supercar that does 0 to 60 in 3 seconds and has a top speed of 222 miles per hour. Name another car for 65 grand, hell, even less than 100 grand that does 222 miles per hour. This thing just slices through the air in a hurry. Love them or hate them, I think that we can all agree the C5 Corvette is a pretty solid performance car. But as far as the looks go, especially with those pop-up up and down headlights. But what if I were to tell you that you could take all the best parts from that Corvette, you know, the motor and the suspension bits, and put it into something that looked 10 times better? Friends, meet the Factory 5 GTM. Not only is this thing 600 pounds lighter than the Donor Corvette, but at 4.9 pounds per horsepower, it's 22% better than the Corvette Z06, making it a mid-engine supercar bargain. And again, I use the bargain word loosely, because to build one of these, you're looking at least 40 grand. But you'll have one of the coolest cars ever, and almost guarantee that you're the only one anywhere that you go. And if you like to have the only one of something, well, you should go check out these 5 insane JDM cars that you can finally import into the USA. Or check out what YouTube recommends you watch next. Oh, and if you haven't yet, please subscribe. But either way, you can't lose, and as always, keep living that ideal lifestyle.